Have you ever stood at a crossroads in life, staring at decisions so overwhelming you whispered, "God, I don't know which way to go." Maybe you're there right now. And maybe the noise of life is so loud, you've forgotten what peace feels like. If you're scrolling through your day just trying to breathe, this moment is for you. This is not just another morning prayer. This is a sacred pause. A space carved out in the chaos to say, "Lord, lead me." A devotional moment to slow down, to stop spiraling, to come not to a place, but to presence. Life isn't short on decisions. Some seem trivial, others can change everything. And in that in-between space, we often feel stuck, anxious, unsure. But you don't have to figure it all out alone. You were never meant to. Daily prayer isn't just a routine, it's a return. I remember a season in my life when everything felt out of alignment. Doors I wanted to walk through kept slamming shut. Nothing made sense. And in my frustration, I sat still and whispered, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." 1 Samuel 3:10. It wasn't dramatic. But in that stillness, I began to feel again, peace, direction, clarity. That's when I realized, the quiet is where God often speaks the loudest. So today, don't rush past this moment. Let's begin this daily devotional with honesty, with simplicity. Let's seek what we all long for: spiritual clarity, inner strength, and the steady voice of God amid the whirlwind. This morning prayer isn't about perfection, it's about presence, it's about showing up. This daily devotional is not just a moment of pause, it's a lifeline for the soul weary of confusion. If you're ready to start your day with God, not just with a screen, stay with me. Let's pray together. Let's walk this path of trust and peace, one sacred step at a time. And now, as we enter this devotional prayer, let us take a breath and prepare our hearts to listen to His Word. Because the next part of our journey begins with this invitation: trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3-5. There's a kind of trust that defies logic. A trust that asks you to step forward while the path ahead is still hidden in mist. That's the kind of trust Proverbs 3-5, 6 calls us into. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. But let's be honest, that's not always easy. We've been taught to figure things out, to be strong, to plan ahead. And when those plans collapse, when the door we were praying for stays shut, we feel like we've failed. But what if letting go isn't a failure? What if it's faith? What if surrender is the straightest line to peace? When I lost the job I had built my identity around, I remember crying in my car, feeling like I had no roadmap. But in that moment, something strange happened. I whispered that verse from Proverbs, barely believing it, and over the next few weeks, doors I hadn't even knocked on began to open, not in my timing, but in His. That's the mystery of daily prayer. It plants peace where anxiety once grew. Now, listen to Isaiah 30-21. Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, "This is the way, walk in it." God doesn't yell, He whispers. He doesn't always show up in burning bushes or parted seas. Sometimes, He comes quietly in a phrase from a friend, in a sentence from Scripture, in that pause when everything else goes still. But are we still enough to hear Him? So I invite you today, find your quiet. Step outside if you can. Feel the breeze. Put down the weight of needing answers, and just ask, "Lord, is this the way?" Maybe you'll hear Him in the stillness, maybe not today, but even the silence can be sacred. That leads us to 1 Samuel 3-9-10, where the boy Samuel, confused and unsure, learns to say, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." It's such a small sentence, but it changes everything. That one line is a posture, a declaration, a surrender. When was the last time you said those words? Not just with your mouth, but with your schedule, with your decisions, with your waiting. Sometimes, we fill our days with so much noise that God has no room to speak, only to wait. So maybe today, your prayer isn't a list of requests. Maybe it's just that one line. Speak, Lord, I'm listening. You can even write it in the comments if you're ready to let Him lead. Let it be your devotional affirmation today. These scriptures aren't just encouragement. They're invitations to trust, to listen, to follow. And as we move forward, we'll discover what it means to live that trust out loud. Because next, we step deeper into the prayer itself, the part where we no longer just hear His word, but let it reshape our heart from the inside out. In that sacred space, transformation begins. God, I come to you not because I have it all together, but because I know I don't. I've tried leaning on my own understanding, and I felt the weight of it like carrying a map that's missing half the roads. Today, I lay that map down. I surrender the path I've drawn in pencil and ask you to redraw it in grace. Give me ears to hear not just the loud moments, but the gentle nudges. Train my heart to listen when you speak through Scripture, through the Holy Spirit, or even through silence. Sharpen my spiritual discernment, Lord. I don't want to move by impulse or fear, but by your quiet direction. I ask for wisdom, not the kind that puffs up, but the kind that anchors. Help me see what is truly good, not just what looks good. Close the doors that seem glittering but lead to unrest. Open the ones that may look ordinary but carry your peace. Let my daily devotional prayer be less about outcomes and more about obedience, less about answers, more about abiding. God, strengthen me when I'm tempted to grasp for control. Remind me that real power is found in surrender. The world says hustle. You say rest. The world says prove. You say trust. And so, I choose to trust. Protect my mind from the lies that say I'm too late, too broken, or too uncertain. Let me walk each day, not in fear, but in faith, knowing that even when I don't feel confident, you are still constant. Surround me with voices that carry your wisdom. Let my friends, mentors, and leaders reflect your heart. Make me humble enough to receive correction and bold enough to walk in truth. Use me, God, not just to be led, but to lead others gently toward you. Let my journey of seeking your will be a beacon of hope to someone else. Today, I offer everything, my dreams, my deadlines, my doubts. I place them all in your hands. Let my plans dissolve if they are not aligned with your purpose. Lead me toward the life that brings you glory, even if it doesn't always bring me clarity. And if I falter, catch me in mercy. If I hesitate, whisper again. If I wander, bring me home. This is my declaration. I will no longer walk by sight alone. I will move by trust. I will release control. I will lean into your direction even when it costs me comfort. My faith is not in the plan. It is in the one who holds the plan. And if you're ready to take this step too, here's something simple you can do today. Write down one prayer request that scares you, and then write beside it, Lord, I trust you with this. Or open a blank note on your phone and type the words, guide me, I will follow. Let it be your reminder, your devotional anchor for the day. Because the next part of this journey calls us even deeper, not just to pray, but to walk with others, to intercede, to lift up someone else's burden as if it were our own. In that, we discover a new kind of strength, the strength that comes when faith becomes shared. God, I lift up the one listening right now. You see them, not the version they show the world, but the hidden parts, the weariness behind their eyes, the questions behind their smile. You know the burdens they carry, the crossroads they stand at, the dreams they barely dare to speak aloud. So today, Lord, would you meet them exactly where they are, in the busyness, in the quiet, in the heartbreak, in the waiting. Whisper peace where there's been unrest. Speak clarity where confusion has clouded vision. Wrap them in your presence like a blanket in the cold, like a sunrise after a long night. I pray you give them spiritual clarity to discern what is from you and what is not. Let the voice of truth rise above the noise of fear and distraction. Where there's doubt, sow faith. Where there's fear, breathe courage. Where there's pressure to have it all figured out, release them into your peace. Show them, Lord, that they are not behind, that they haven't missed it, that even now you are aligning paths and preparing doors that no one can shut. Let this daily Jesus devotional moment be a turning point, a gentle, quiet turning of the soul toward you. I ask for open eyes to recognize your movement in small moments, a text at the right time, a verse that leaps off the page, an inner knowing that brings peace. Let them feel seen and known by you. And Father, place people around them who carry your heart, godly counsel, holy friendships, encouragement that strengthens their faith. Let them feel surrounded, not by expectations, but by your presence. If they are facing decisions, guide them. If they're hurting, heal them. If they're numb, awaken them. If they're doubting, draw them deeper. This is more than a morning prayer. It's a rescue, a reset, a rerouting in the truth that you are near. I pray they rise today with fresh hope, that their devotional prayer doesn't end here but continues in the way they move, speak, listen, and love. Let their life become a quiet echo of your faithfulness. Let this morning prayer carry into their interactions, choices, and inner reflections, not just as a ritual, but as a steady rhythm of communion with you. And if you're here listening, take a moment, yes, right now. Write down a single word you want to carry into today. Maybe it's peace, maybe it's clarity, maybe it's trust. Let that word be a seed and trust that God will water it. And as we move forward, I want to gently invite you into something more, because after prayer comes a new kind of posture, not just receiving, but offering, and that's where we're headed next. Into the kind of intercession that doesn't just ask for breakthrough, but becomes the breakthrough for someone else. Pause for a moment, not with your to-do list open, not with answers lined up, but just as you are. Breathe. Think back. Can you remember a time when something didn't go your way and later you were glad it didn't? A relationship that ended, a job you didn't get, a plan that fell apart. At first, it felt like rejection, but now you see, it was redirection. God wasn't punishing you, He was protecting you. His closed doors are not silence, they're signals. Sometimes they speak louder than open ones. Remember that moment you felt peace that didn't make sense? Or when a simple conversation gave you clarity no strategy ever could? That was Him. His guidance doesn't always come with fireworks, it often comes as a whisper that settles in your bones. That's how spiritual clarity feels. Not loud, but lasting. Psalm 34-18 tells us that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Maybe the very moment you felt most alone was the moment God was closest. He didn't fix everything instantly, but He never left you. And sometimes, that's the greater miracle. Now let me ask you gently, honestly, when was the last time you knew, deep down, that God was leading you? What did that moment feel like? What did it shift inside you? Write it down. Hold on to it. These are the stones of remembrance that anchor our faith when the road ahead gets unclear again. Or maybe you're still waiting for that moment. That's okay too. The waiting room of faith isn't wasted space. It's the soil where daily Jesus prayer begins to take root. If you feel comfortable, share it in the comments. When did God last guide your steps? Or what are you praying He'll lead you through now? Your story might be the confirmation someone else is desperate to hear. And as we look ahead to what comes next, where faith becomes action, know that this moment of reflection is more than memory, it's movement. Because soon, we'll rise not only with clarity, but with the courage to follow Him wherever He leads. There comes a moment when reflection becomes conviction. A moment when we don't just remember what God has done, we decide who we will be because of it. So today, I declare, God is leading me, even when I can't see it, even when I doubt it, even when my emotions try to outrun my faith. His hand is steady, and His plan is still good. Say that with me if you're ready. God is leading me. His plans are good. His timing is perfect. I trust his direction. Let these words be more than a whisper, let them become the ground you stand on. When the storm rises, when fear creeps back in, speak them again, not as a wish, but as a weapon. Because truth is a shield, and this is yours. There was a night I sat alone in my car after hearing news that unraveled me. Plans shattered, dreams postponed. And yet, in that space of loss, I heard a single sentence rise inside me. You don't have to understand the plan to trust the one who made it. I've held on to that ever since. Faith doesn't mean we never question. It means we choose trust over control, worship over worry, surrender over striving. And now, I invite you, yes, you to declare your trust too. Not because everything makes sense, but because you've seen enough of his faithfulness to believe he's not done writing your story. Take a moment right now and write one line of trust. It could be a comment. It could be in your journal. It could be a prayer you speak aloud. Just make it yours. Some have written, "Even in my waiting, I believe you are working. I trust you more than my feelings. Your way, not mine." Which one is yours today, or what would you add? Let the words of Proverbs 3-5, 6 rise within you like a holy refrain. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. This isn't just a verse, it's a posture, a way of walking through uncertainty with peace instead of panic. And if this declaration resonates with you, you can share it with someone who needs to hear it. Faith multiplies when spoken aloud. Maybe your words will become the hope someone else has been waiting for. Because as we move into the next part of this journey, we'll explore not just what we believe, but how we live it out. And that's where true transformation begins. In the steps we take, not just the words we say. Even when the next step is unclear, I know you will meet me again in the next daily devotional with new mercy and direction. Now that we've declared our trust, how do we live it step by step, moment by moment? God's direction often unfolds not in grand revelations, but through quiet obedience. So here are 3 simple, tangible ways you can walk with him today. Step 1. Remember his faithfulness. Take 5 minutes to look back, not at your failures, but at his fingerprints. Write down 3 moments when God clearly led you through a closed door, a breakthrough you didn't expect, or a peace that made no sense. Maybe it was a season where everything felt uncertain, but somehow you ended up exactly where you needed to be. This is your personal psalm of remembrance. As Psalm 77-11 says, "I will remember the deeds of the Lord. Yes, I will remember your miracles of long ago." Write them down. Whisper them. Let them anchor your trust. Step 2. Invite his voice in stillness. Carve out 5 minutes of silence. No music, no notifications, just you and God. Sit quietly and ask, "Lord, what are you saying today?" And then, simply listen. Sometimes he speaks in a word, sometimes in a feeling, sometimes in the absence of both, but the peace lingers. You can even write your prayer like this: "Jesus, I don't need clarity right now. I need closeness. I need your voice more than I need my plan." Let Psalm 46-10 guide you in this space. Be still and know that I am God. That stillness is not emptiness, it's expectancy. It's not the absence of sound, but the awareness of presence. If journaling helps, open a blank page and let your thoughts spill unfiltered, unedited. There's something sacred about processing with the one who sees it all. Step 3. Take one faith-filled action. Ask yourself, what is one small act of obedience I can take today? It doesn't have to be dramatic. Maybe it's reaching out to someone on your heart. Maybe it's applying for something you feared. Maybe it's finally letting go of something God has been asking you to release. Faith is not about having the full picture. It's about trusting the hand that paints it. As Romans 8:28 reminds us, in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. And if you feel prompted, Share one of these steps in the comments, not as performance, but as participation. Your faith in action may inspire someone else to move too. Because where we're going next isn't just about listening and reflecting, it's about walking in daily alignment. About living a life of faith that doesn't just whisper, "I believe," but boldly says, "I will follow." God, thank you for being near, even when the path is unclear. Thank you for being the compass when the map fades, the light when the next step feels hidden. We confess we don't always understand where you're taking us. But today, we choose to trust that you're already there. For the one listening right now, I pray for clarity, not always of circumstances, but of heart. Give them spiritual strength to keep moving, even if the ground beneath feels uncertain. Give them patience to wait when it's not time to run, and courage to go when you say move. Remind them, Lord, that even a small step taken in faith is a victory in your eyes. Help us believe that we are not behind. We have not missed it. You are always on time. You are not a distant deity we don't have to shout to be heard. Your nearness is our inheritance, and your presence is the home we never have to leave. And so, we whisper again what we've learned to say. Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3-5, 6. We will not miss your voice, because you never stop speaking. We will not miss your leading, because you never stop loving. We don't need to know every turn ahead. We just need to know you're walking with us. So for every listener who feels like they've strayed too far, draw them close. For the one who's carrying silent shame, remind them grace doesn't expire. For the one paralyzed by fear of choosing wrong, flood their mind with peace. And now, with open hands and surrendered hearts, we say, Lord, lead me, and I will follow. As we come to the end of this prayerful journey, I want to speak to the quiet part of you, the part you don't always show. The part that wonders, is this really for me? The answer, beloved friend, is yes. This is for the one holding silent burdens, the one who feels like they're supposed to be strong, but inside, they're tired. This is for the one who smiles on the outside, but cries on their way home. This is for the one who gave up on asking for direction, because it felt like no answer ever came. You are not forgotten. God sees the questions behind your confidence. He hears the prayers you haven't dared to speak out loud, and He's not disappointed in you, He's drawing closer. Maybe today isn't about making the right decision. Maybe it's just about being still long enough to remember you are deeply loved. So let this be more than a morning prayer. Let it be a devotional moment that ripples throughout your day, a quiet decision to live from trust instead of control. If something stirred in your heart, I invite you. Write one word in the comments that describes where you where you want to be. It could be peace, or surrender, or clarity. You can even whisper it in your own space. The point is, name it, own it, offer it. And if you feel led, leave a prayer for someone else in the comments. Someone who needs to know they're not alone. Maybe your prayer is the whisper their soul has been longing to hear. This is how we grow, not by having all the answers, but by walking together in holy uncertainty. Thank you, truly, for being here, for being willing to slow down, to reflect, to listen, to pray. Every moment you've given this space is an offering. And every offering sown in trust never returns empty. May you walk forward with eyes open to the signs of His love today. A word that finds you at the right time. A song that reminds you you're seen, a small act of kindness that makes the air feel lighter. And if at any point today you feel unsure again, just come back. Let this space be your reminder that clarity doesn't always come before the step, but peace comes when we walk with Him. Now, if you've made it this far, pause, really pause. Breathe, and hear these words again, as if for the first time. Have you ever stood at a crossroads in life, staring at decisions so overwhelming you whispered, God, I don't know which way to go? That whisper was a prayer, and that prayer opened a door. And this whole journey, friend, this entire quiet walk of faith, it began with that one question. So stay a while, revisit the beginning if you need. Rewatch, rewrite, repray, because sometimes returning to the first prayer is the way we find our next step. And if this prayer has held space for you, we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment with your reflection. Share this devotional with someone you love, or simply write a short prayer below for yourself or for a stranger. Because we believe this: every time you speak hope, someone else finds the strength to believe again. Let's keep going, together. Because your journey doesn't end here, it's only just begun.